Hey y'all. Meghan Sussex's first royal project comes full circle, and Feminagra has the story. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we'll be discussing Meghan Sussex, her first royal project, the amazing ladies of the Hubb Community Kitchen, and of course, the Together Cookbook. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share so that more people can find us. Once again, Feminagra has the story, Miss Historian is the author, and it's titled Meghan Sussex's First Royal Project Comes Full Circle as Women Thrive Beyond Hubb Kitchen. The claim that Meghan Sussex's first royal initiative has shut down sounds final and dramatic. Some media headlines suggested doors closed and stoves went cold. The reality tells a different story. The Hubb Community Kitchen, long linked to Meghan's early royal work, did not collapse or vanish. Its journey followed the path many community projects take after meeting their original goal. The Hubb Community Kitchen emerged in the aftermath of the Grenfell Tower fire in 2017. Local women created a shared cooking space inside the Al-Manar Muslim Cultural Heritage Center to support displaced families who lacked kitchens and temporary housing. Meghan visited in early 2018 and chose the group as her first independent charitable focus after her engagement. She helped spotlight their work through Together, Our Community Cookbook, which shot to #1 on Amazon within hours, raised more than £200,000 to expand the kitchen, and later exceeded £1 million in overall sales. Those funds expanded kitchen access from a few days a week to daily use and financed renovations that improved facilities. Meghan wrote the foreword and hosted a launch lunch at Kensington Palace attended by Prince Harry and her mother, Doria Ragland. The initiative became a visible example of her hands-on approach during her brief period as a working royal. Importantly, the kitchen always served a practical need tied to emergency accommodation, not a permanent food enterprise. Media reactions followed predictable patterns. The Daily Fail, known for years of tough Sussex-focused commentary, emphasized closure, but People highlighted that the kitchen was always designed to wind down once families were rehoused. I mean, it was an emergency accommodation. I'm surprised that the Daily Fail couldn't put that together. Actually, I'm not surprised. They're not that bright. Quote, after Meghan and Harry stepped back from royal duties in 2020 and relocated to the US, it seems that her involvement with the charity has waned. On the third anniversary of the fire, which left 72 dead, the Duchess made headlines when she honored the women of the community kitchen via video call from Los Angeles, describing their work as love in action. The last time the Duchess reached out to Hubb Kitchen was in June of 2022 to mark the 5th anniversary of the fire. Since then, it seems the stoves have gone cold on the initiative that symbolized Meghan's grassroots approach to royal duties. A spokesman for the Hubb Kitchen told the Daily Fail, I can't talk about the Duchess of Sussex, but the Hubb Community Kitchen has stopped. Now, that was from Richard Eden at the Daily Fail. Richard Eden's report in the Daily Fail framed the kitchen as having quietly closed, with language that implied decline after Meghan and Harry stepped back from royal duties. They're always going to make it a point to add that into everything, though. Like, at this point, it's been 6 years. I mean, I think we get it, but that's what they do. Richard Eden's column leaned heavily on the word closed while offering limited context about the project's intended lifespan. That framing created the impression of abandonment rather than completion. Other outlets like People magazine presented a fuller timeline. Their reporting noted that the kitchen functioned as a temporary response to families living without cooking facilities. I mean, something tells me that the Daily Fail should have at least just captured that. As residents moved into permanent homes with kitchens, the demand for a shared space naturally reduced. A spokesperson confirmed operations had stopped, yet this statement did not signal scandal or financial collapse. The difference lies in emphasis. One narrative highlights an ending, the other explains why the ending arrived. From People, this is the quote, it says, People understands that the kitchen was always intended to be a temporary, time-limited hub to support Grenfell survivors who had been displaced and were living in accommodation without cooking facilities. The project wound down because its purpose had been fulfilled. Those families have since been rehoused in permanent accommodation with kitchens, meaning there is no longer a need for the facility to operate. I mean, from the very beginning, we've been fully aware that the Hub Community Kitchen was a temporary accommodation for those who had been displaced. All of the coverage of the Hub Community Kitchen, Meghan's involvement, and together the community cookbook have involved the fact that this group of people were displaced due to the Grenfell Tower fire in 2017, and that this Hub Community Kitchen was an accommodation. Everyone was fully aware of that, including those who read the foreword of the book, those who covered or read anything that covered the Kensington Palace event at the launch of the book, and anything related to the Hub Community Kitchen. It was obvious from the get-go because they've never hid that fact, and that has always been part of how they covered this story and how they covered this project. There was a need that was accommodated through this project and through this community kitchen. Anyone who's acting like they weren't aware of that is someone who's intentionally being obtuse, and I don't know that we should be wasting a whole lot of time on them. But I am surprised that they have any kind of professional employment, especially professional employment that requires them to communicate with the public. Yikes. The story did not end with locked doors. The kitchen's work evolved and later connected with wider food redistribution efforts, including partnerships with groups such as the Felix Project. Several women involved in the original group moved into independent ventures, demonstrating growth rather than loss. As the end of the article goes on to say, the facts show evolution, not failure. I appreciate Feminagra for bringing the facts. I appreciate that they do not play the game of the derangers and their media representatives, and that they're always happy to defend Harry and Meghan when need be. Because things like this drive me up a wall, and I'm pretty sure if you're here, they drive you up a wall too. Because in the land of 2026, when we have the Epstein files, and we have Charles, Camilla, who's a permanent fixture in the villain's lair, in my opinion. Then you have William and Edward and Andrew, and you have these real people doing some very horrible things and being affiliated with some very horrible people, including criminal activity, including cannibalism and torture videos and all kinds of wild shit. You would expect that media publications, they would see a buffet in front of them in the Epstein files, and they would be exposing everything, making connections, writing real articles, and exposing truths with what's in front of them. Instead, they're trying to create nonsense and use Harry and Meghan as a deflection point. Why aren't you talking about the royals who have been put in the Epstein files? Why aren't you talking about what's exposed? Why aren't you informing your public? And if you are, why aren't you deep diving? Why aren't you doing some investigative reporting? Why aren't you exposing the truths? Why aren't you carrying the story to the public the way that you're supposed to? Instead, what you're trying to do is paint a negative picture of Harry and Meghan over some bullshit. You're wasting everybody's time, especially your own. But we have Feminagra, and this is one of the reasons why I sing Feminagra's praises the way that I do. Because when you have been sifting through publications and articles and all this stuff, the crap, the content that the media puts out now, and especially for as long as I have, you know just how hard it is to find good old factual reporting. It is difficult, which is why I lean so heavily on Feminagra. They don't pay me. They didn't ask me to shout them out. Hell, they don't even know that I exist, I'm sure. But one thing I will say is I absolutely rely on them to bring the whole story, which is why they're linked in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. So that's all I have for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I just have to say I appreciate Feminagra taking the time to defend Meghan Sussex as well as the Hub Community Kitchen and their Together Community Cookbook. That was an amazing project and it had a lot of wonderful results. It offered a lot of help to a lot of people and we saw it grow and evolve over time. It only makes sense that people who are getting rehoused and found their homes would no longer need the help of a community kitchen. It served its purpose. Thank you, Feminagra, for clearing that up, but I'm a little surprised that that even needed to be explained. Anyway, that says a lot about the Daily Fail continuing to operate on idiocracy. So that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share so that more people can find us. Thanks to those of you who have joined me over on Chats and Chill. I hope you enjoyed this week's video and all the mess. But that is all I have. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all next time.